Flags aren't just cloth, they are identities stitched into wind. They are signals, boundaries, memories, and myths. Some hold records that push them into the extreme. The oldest, the newest, the largest, the strangest. They tell the story of nations not with words, but with color. The oldest of them flies in Denmark. A red field, a white cross. Simple, stark, eternal. It is called the Dannebrog, and its story is older than most European nations themselves. In 1219, during the Battle of Lindenice in Estonia, legend says the flag fell from the heavens. Danish forces, exhausted, were near defeat. Then the sky delivered red and white. Soldiers rallied. The tide turned. Victory followed. Maybe it was miracle, maybe it was myth, but what matters is that since that day, the same flag has flown. 8 centuries. Empires have risen and collapsed. Borders have shifted like tides. Monarchies toppled and rebuilt. Yet the Dannebrog has remained unchanged, the longest continuous use of a national flag anywhere on Earth. Not every flag carries centuries of dust. Some are so new they are still wet with history. South Sudan lifted its own flag for the first time in 2011. Black for its people, red for their bloodshed, green for the land, blue for the waters of the Nile, and a gold star for unity. It is a young banner for a young nation, carved out of war and hope. When it waves, it does not recall 800 years of memory. It speaks of tomorrow. The world's newest flag, born in the 21st century, still defining its meaning with every year it survives. Size itself becomes a contest. Qatar holds the record for the largest flag ever made. In 2013, the desert nation unfurled a flag so enormous it covered more than 100,000 square meters. 14 football fields of burgundy and white. It took hundreds of people to carry, to spread, to even show it fully. From above, it looked less like fabric and more like a landscape. No mast could bear it, no wind could lift it. But that wasn't the point. It was spectacle. A statement to the world that size itself could be patriotism. And yet, in a laboratory, another flag was born, invisible to the naked eye. The smallest flag in history, not sewn but etched by nanotechnology. Engineers at IBM used atoms and silicon to carve the stars and stripes so tiny it could sit on a grain of salt. The red, the white, the blue, reduced to microscopic precision. A flag that no wind could move, no soldier could carry, but one that proved something else. Technology can make even symbols shrink into the invisible. Between the gigantic and the microscopic lies another oddity, a flag made not by governments, but by Guinness. Nepal's flag is the only one in the world that dares to break the rectangle. 2 stacked triangles, crimson with blue borders, sun and moon emblazoned. It is geometry-defying convention. Where every other flag waves as a rectangle, Nepal keeps its ancient form. Its shape recalls Hinduism and Buddhism, peaks of the Himalayas, the eternal cycle of day and night. It is the only national flag in the world that looks like no other. Some records aren't about shape or size, they are about endurance. The flag of Ethiopia carries one of the longest traditions in Africa. Its tricolor of green, yellow, and red has shifted in design, but the pattern has endured for centuries. More importantly, it spread. When African nations won independence in the mid-20th century, many adopted those same colors. Ghana, Senegal, Cameroon, Mali. The Pan-African palette traces back to Ethiopia, a nation that resisted colonization and carried its banner through wars and empire. A flag that became a template, copied and honored across an entire continent. Then there is speed. Mozambique holds a record for symbolism few dare to match. On its flag lies a book for education, a hoe for agriculture, and an AK-47 with a bayonet attached. It is the only flag in the world to display a modern firearm. Not a sword of the medieval past, not a spear of folklore, but a gun, plain and unmistakable. Born from struggle, from liberation wars against colonial rule. Its message is clear. Independence was won with arms, and memory of that fight must remain in cloth. Controversial, striking, unique. No other state has chosen to mark its identity with a weapon of the present. Symbols can be strange, but some are simply unique in rarity. The flag of Paraguay holds a double face. One side shows the national coat of arms, the other shows the treasury seal, front and back 2 different designs. the only national flag in the world that changes when it flips in the wind. For centuries, Paraguay has carried this peculiarity. From one angle, a star and laurel wreath. From the other, a lion and liberty cap. A flag with two identities, seen differently depending on where you stand. Some flags are tied not to nations, but to seas. Jolly Roger, the skull and crossbones of pirates, is not a national banner, but it is the most famous unofficial flag in history. In the 18th century, it struck terror into sailors. Blackfield, white skull, crossed bones, or swords. It was not meant for pride, but for fear. A flag that promised no quarter. Though never official, its legacy survives. On ships, in movies, in culture itself. A symbol so strong that centuries later, children still recognize it instantly. Few national flags can claim that. And then there is the Union Jack. Not the oldest, not the newest, not the largest, but the most duplicated. It appears not only in Britain but on the flags of Australia, New Zealand, Fiji, Tuvalu, and countless territories. It is stitched into corners across oceans, the reminder of empire. No other flag has spread itself across the world so literally, embedded into other designs. It is a symbol not just of one nation, but of power once so vast it painted itself onto other banners. Some flags break records not by history or legend, but by design that refuses to blend in. Take the flag of Belize. Most flags rely on 2 or 3 colors, maybe a simple emblem. Belize surrounds itself in a story. Its banner carries a full coat of arms, intricate as a painting, men with tools, a tree rising, axes and saws, a shield with ships. No other flag in the world has so many humans printed on its face. The detail is staggering, hard to stitch, harder to replicate. It is a flag not made for simplicity, but for identity carved into every corner. And then there is the flag of Saudi Arabia, which holds a record of sacred permanence. Most flags are lowered at night, brought down in storms, treated as cloth that obeys the weather. Not this one. Across its green field runs the Islamic creed, the Shahada, there is no God but Allah, and Muhammad is the messenger of Allah, and below it, a sword gleaming. Because of this sacred inscription, the Saudi flag is never lowered, never flown at half-mast, never allowed to droop in mourning. It cannot be folded away like others. It must always rise untouchable, a banner that is treated not as fabric, but as scripture. Some flags look like symbols of nations, but they are not nations at all. The flag of the Red Cross. A white field with a red cross at its center. It is recognized in every war zone, every disaster area, every refugee camp. It holds no land, commands no army, yet it is one of the most protected and recognized flags in the world. International law shields it. Soldiers are taught to respect it. It represents neutrality, aid, humanity. A flag not of a country, but of conscience. At sea, another flag carries a different kind of power. The flag of Switzerland, when reversed. Few people know this. The international symbol for medical aid, the Red Cross, is simply the Swiss flag inverted. A white cross on red became a red cross on white. Born during the Geneva Conventions, this inversion turned a national symbol into a universal one. From a single country's banner emerged an emblem of all humanitarian law. Some flags are strange not because of what they show, but because of how they move. The flag planted on the moon in 1969 is unlike any flown on Earth. When astronauts Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin raised the Stars and Stripes, there was no wind to carry it. So NASA built a horizontal rod across the top to keep it stretched. In the black vacuum, the flag rippled as it was twisted into the lunar soil, a frozen wave caught forever in photos. It is not just a flag of a nation, it is the first flag placed on another world. A record that belongs not only to the United States, but to all of humanity, the first banner to claim space itself. Some records are hidden in numbers. The flag of the United States holds the record for most redesigns. From 13 stars stitched in a circle in 1777, it has changed 27 times. Each new state added another star. The most recent came in 1960, when Hawaii joined. 50 stars, 50 states, a grid that has become one of the most recognizable designs on Earth. No other flag has shifted so many times yet kept its core identity intact. It is not just a flag, it is a ledger tracking the growth of a nation across centuries. Yet, the US doesn't hold the record for complexity. That belongs to the flag of Bhutan. Diagonal yellow and orange fields with a white dragon stretched across the middle, claws gripping jewels. The dragon is Druk, the thunder dragon of Bhutanese mythology, roaring in silence on the fabric. Its details, scales, claws, flame-tipped breath, make it one of the most elaborate national flags in existence. And then, a flag that holds no land but represents one of the largest communities in the world. The rainbow flag of pride. First stitched in 1978 in San Francisco, its 6 colors have become universal: red for life, orange for healing, yellow for sunlight, green for nature, blue for harmony, purple for spirit. It is not a national flag, but it waves across continents. It belongs to no government, yet is recognized everywhere. It is a record of reach, an unofficial flag that has become one of the most global banners of modern history. But if reach can be measured by adoption, then the Olympic flag claims its own supremacy. 5 rings, blue, yellow, black, green, red, on a white field. Each color chosen because at least one appeared in the flag of every nation on Earth at the time of its creation. It is flown every 4 years, carried into stadiums, raised at ceremonies. It represents no single country, but all countries together. Few flags in history can claim to unite the entire world beneath their colors. The Olympic flag is one of them. And finally, the strangest record belongs to a flag that isn't flown in air at all. Antarctica. No nation owns the continent, so no official flag exists. Yet in 2002, a design began to gain recognition: a blue field with a white silhouette of the continent. It is unofficial, but widely used, a symbol of unity for scientists, explorers, and treaty nations that govern the frozen land. The only flag to represent a place without a country, without a people, without an army, just a continent of ice and research. It waves not for sovereignty, but for cooperation. Each of these flags carries a record, some written in history, some in law, some in myth, some in silence. Together, they prove a simple truth. Flags are not just signals to mark borders. They are records of who we are, of what we value, of where we've dared to go. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.